Greetings, Legendary Badass here, opening up a rock star. We've got a little bit of nonsense to get into. You see, I told you that we had this big cover-up. Trying not to make a mess here. The Biden administration puppeted around Joe Biden as if he was Weekend at Bernie's. The guy, is it Kaiser? Terry Kaiser, right? Actually, a graduate of KU. So he's a fellow Jayhawk, but I think that we're only scratching the surface of how devious this could possibly been. We have known animosity. It's known to the staffers who are coming out, and they will, for opportunities. If the pay rate's well, if there's a big enough podcast willing to talk to them, saying that there was much strife between Vice President Kamala and First Lady Jill Biden. I think neither of them had Joe Biden's best interests in mind. Hear me out. Jill Biden likes to be vice president. Let's pull up a clip here or something. Yeah, it's frozen. So, but anyways, that kind of works out because we'll just mess with that later. Yeah, it wants to show a freaking video. But Jill Biden is being asked to testify, talk about this matter. And it's quite possible that she kept Joe Biden unaware of his cancer diagnosis. Or maybe even more likely that he was aware, but didn't have to tell the public for whatever reason. He let it slip. He had a speech where he's like, that's why I have cancer. Many other Americans have cancer in the Pennsylvania area. And Scranton Joe, that's what they call me. Corn Pop, And another thing, but here's what I mean, right? So he's going off doing that thing. And now we have the Trump White House wants Jill Biden. Hey, what did you know about this? You should probably speak in front of Congress, under oath, all this stuff. Because it looks like there's a lot of information coming out here. And I think it's possible Jill Biden really liked pulling the strings, that she felt she was president and superseded Kamala. That Joe Biden winning was actually orchestrated by the Democratic Party to get a Weekend at Bernie's in the White House so that they could operate and do whatever they wanted. And Jill kind of got in the way of that by making it her. Oh, well, if they're puppeting him, he's my husband. I can puppet him too. So she wanted to be president, and she was actually operating as such, with Kamala in the way, in a sense. But the Democrats thought it doesn't matter if Joe's president for a little bit. He'll probably die in office. He's got cancer. It's fine. We'll just keep that under wraps. And hopefully there will be a state funeral and usher in first black woman, Kamala Harris. Used to work at McDonald's. Right? Cackling. It's quite possible that they were okay with that. That Joe Biden was designed to die in office to fulfill the grand scheme of DEI, that we may not be able to prop Kamala into winning the race, but we can hitch her to the Joe Biden wagon for the anything but Trump. We got Trump painted. It doesn't matter if the facts are wrong when we communicate the message to the public. What matters is before the election, we tinker with things, get Kamala in as vice president and try to buy our time and let nature take its course. I think that was the grand scheme, was Joe Biden was expected to die in office. Am I wrong with that? I don't know. You let me know. Does that sound reasonable to you? Does it sound like they understood this guy is not all there? He could have been drugged up with the medication that aided in this Sleepy Joe Alzheimer's aspect of his life. And They wanted Kamala in. This is the best way to do it. And as you can see, Kamala losing the election when forced in there, Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi were waiting for him to make his decision. Well, he said he's staying in the race. Well, we're going to wait for him to make his decision. I swear that's what she said. I'm having a very tough time finding that soundbite. I think it was probably MSNBC or CNN where she was on. And I'm not getting any comments here. We got 4 viewers. Come on. Well, am I right? It's a conspiracy theory. First of all, conspiracy and a conspiracy and a theory are different. And a conspiracy theory, that there is a theory of people conspiring, sounds pretty reasonable, doesn't it? The cover up here is going to get brushed under the rug because nothing came of it. And that's it, right? Oh God, no, anything but politics, says Atticus. We'll get to some entertainment stuff later. Atticus, the politics is what works over here. Everybody has to talk about what's in the news. Everybody has to take a hardline stance so that they can speak to that militant base and receive super chats and memberships and sell merch. Because if you don't do things that strike a chord with people, you get left behind on this platform. Am I not wrong here? Look, should somebody like Ben Shapiro have an audience here? He seems to have found a way, at least with Susan, to get all of his rivals demonetized, to get them to leave YouTube in some capacity so that he could be the conservative voice on YouTube. And here he is this week. I say here it is. I don't have the clip on me. Begging Israel to just go ahead and launch some missiles over at Iran. Hey, that suits Ben, right? Warmongering Ben Shapiro, who says the only racist things that happen in the U.S. are towards his people. Black people, that's a you problem. When it comes to my people, he's a devout anti-Semite. Yep. Now, let me tell you about my, what's he going to, he just always dives in the sponsor. But first, gotta tell you, you're going to die someday. So you need insurance. You need life insurance, right? Someday Vaughn will get my name right. Atticus Spadicus. Autisticus. Oh, shit. Yeah, maybe. Well, is today that day, Atticus? Well, yeah, U.S. wants to negotiate with Iran. Yeah, maybe beneficial to not have a bunch of war in that region. But Israel, no, they want the whole place cleared so they can just expand that Israel reach. And if you question Ben's motives and his alliance, then you're an anti-Semite and, all this nonsense, right? So very weird. We got a situation orchestrated in which you can't question what's going on. Or you get hard canceled. So yeah, that's really cool. And somehow people still listen to this guy. I don't fully get it. How about we get into some lighter stuff? No, today's the day. All right, well, so I said that right, and now I got to fix this app over here. This is happening. This is breaking way more than it used to. In fact, we have a big problem here. Stuff's not working. It's not really registering the right click the way it should. So that's not good. It's kind of a little locked up right there. I can't pull up the other windows. The only way to do that is to relaunch OBS, and we can't do that. Oh no. I should have looked to see if the right click was going to work. Well, I don't know why this app doesn't have another update to fix all the crap that's happening with it, but it's a free application. Semites. Yeah, that's what we may have to start saying around here, right? I can't right click. Is there another way to right click? Control Option. I don't see another option here to bring up. I wanted to kind of react to the King of the Hill announcement. So this is going to be more of a not showing you, but you can find that a King of the Hill, also known as plankton. Hey, we could say that too. I don't think they're going to take kindly to the sea monkeys, but all right. Well, hey, pretend we did an edit here. In other news, King of the Hill's returning in August. Is that pretty amazing? I'd say so. We've been waiting for this. If you pull up the trailer, you can note the the whole gang's here, save Luann, voiced by Brittany Murphy, who passed away in between seasons. So I don't think we're going to be seeing any of her. But Bobby's taller. He's not quite as tall as Hank, thank goodness. Little short guy shouldn't have gotten even that as tall as he did, right? How tall is Hank? Is he about maybe like 6'3", if I had to guess? Taller than Peggy. Bobby's taller than Peggy, but yeah, we don't have Luann. That makes that can work. That's fine. I think that we have a lot of ground to cover, so they're ripe for material. There's a lot that can be done. I think the season starts early August, but maybe it's a full season drop. I don't think Hulu likes doing the full season drop. We may have to wait a little bit. It's going to be a little curious about that. It looks like, from the look of the teaser trailer here, we've got the theme song back. Everybody's standing there, open the beer. Yep. 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 That sort of thing. But a black guy that I don't recognize, and I didn't watch a ton of King of the Hill. I think, like most people, in actuality, I watched the clips after it went off. Kind of like how, maybe Seinfeld becomes more popular with finding a new audience after it goes off. Friends as well, The Office, King of the Hill clips, okay? I don't recognize the black guy, but he's doing the chin diaper thing. You can see that they went through the thing of which cannot be spoken of. There's some kind of election, vote for Dale, I guess. But the black guy then goes into his house, which I think Hank sold him. Was that the final episode or something? I doubt it. I think this is all happening between seasons here at the end. He goes into the house, and then Hank and his family show back up. And then they're standing out there, and it's like, oh, don't worry, Hank's back. King of the Hill returns. Hulu, Disney Plus. Rejoice. This, guys, is the reason why Disney acquired Fox. Oh, bring the X-Men into the MCU? Nah, small potatoes. King of the Hill Cinematic Universe. That's where the real money is. We bring back, get another season. We'll do a movie. We'll have offshoots. Luann's adventure with AI Brittany Murphy voice. Everybody will love it, right? Atticus says, I remember when Hank Hill had a cameo on The Simpsons. I think I recall something like that. Did they change his skin yellow? Because at the time, it seemed like when they did the crossover thing, characters had to become yellow for The Simpsons. Like Jay from the Critic, I think he was yellow in The Simpsons, but, Peach's tan white guy on his show, I think it's worth mentioning that the black guy seems to stay in the house and then the Hills show up. So are they renting the house from the guy? It didn't look like he left. I didn't see moving people take him away. Did he die? What are we doing here? And speaking of the Critic, you guys have got to get off of this bring back the Critic nonsense. The Critic worked in its day only because there were TV critics. Gene Shalit, Siskel Ebert. There were people on screen on television necessitating having a show for Jay to host. He had a TV show. It stinks, right? What's he going to do? Oh, he got older and even balder, and now he has a podcast. The girl that voiced his son died. Chucky Finster, Babe the pig, she passed away from cancer. So are we going to take him out of it? Like, what are we going to do? I don't think Jay is capable of putting all the cables together to do a live stream like this. I don't think that he would have a hit show online. You could maybe do a movie the Critic movie straight to streaming, addressing the Marvel fatigue in some roundabout way, and the what's going on? It's your boy here, smash it like, but like the new online critic culture where a lot of it is indecisive. Oh, can't tell you for sure if this is a 9.0 out of 10 movie or if it's good or if I recommend so much. We're just going to talk about it a bit. More important that I react to the trailers and the gossip for the casting of whatever coming next in the superhero garbage. That seems to be where everything is now, and it's terrible. There could be enough for them to do one 90-minute, under 2 hour streaming movie for the Critic. I don't see a full season working. It would be very padded. There's, just to quickly address the downfall of the movie Critic, particularly the TV movie Critic, and then we could move on to what? I'm not sure. So yes, that's my thoughts on the Critic as well. Do we have any other kind of questions here? Oh boy, I get to go home early today. Must be my lucky day. Full house, whatever, something, and then get stabbed in the eye. What's that movie, guys? I don't think he says, oh no, actually, all of them, oh, hey, I get to close up early, then gets shot. Very similar. So what happens to Dick Miller? Very similar to what happens to the twins in Terminator 2. Oh, hey, full house. Must be my lucky day. Stabbed. If you ever think it's your lucky day in a James Cameron movie, oh, hey, it's a good day. I get to close it. None of that. You don't want none of that. You do not want to think that you're being lucky in a James Cameron movie. No, Hank was still pinkish. It was that episode where Homer was coach of Bart Simpson's football team and kept giving Bart special treatment. No way. Oh, you say cameo. Okay, yeah, I recall that one. It must have been. It's not a Family Guy style or a Futurama true crossover, right? Was he just in the background for a minute or something? Because that is one of the episodes I remember seeing that would play on TV when I'd come home from like football practice or such. It might have came on a little later than that. But The Simpsons used to run in the daytime TV thing and when I was in high school and stuff. But there was a funny moment where Nelson, he would like pick up Bart and then like use him to block and then like needlessly, instead of going for the touchdown, just veer right, hit somebody and then go in. And then Joe Namath came by and he talked about vapor lock and it's a super serious problem you need to be concerned about. And they're kind of having a laugh at a few different things there. I think most people would say that was probably post-peak Simpsons. A lot of people want to frown on, I think it was like season 8 at the point in which we met the real Principal Skinner, and it turned out his name was like Armin something, like the guy we know of as Principal Skinner. And then he was living this other guy's life that this guy met in Nam, but then it turned out he was alive, and hell, that's not even his mom he's taking care of and shit. And everybody's like, that is the jump the shark moment for The Simpsons. But there was still some good stuff that happened after that. And I don't think that's the jump the shark moment. I think The Simpsons was probably bad before the movie in 2007, but the movie was good. And that probably would have been a good place to cap things off. Because I know that the voices of the actors is having some trouble. The old gal that voices Marge, I think she's the oldest among the cast. She's sounding right decrepit old. And they even had like a singing thing in a recent-ish episode where like Kristen Bell had to do the singing voice for her. I see of these things without actually watching The Simpsons. It's kind of a bad deal. Hank and his wife are in the bleachers for 2 seconds. Do they have a speaking role or anything? I might have been able to recognize them, but at the time, the crossover was not a big deal like that in the same way that we try to make of it now. Though, Shouldn't HBO try to cross over some of their stuff, try to link some characters together? The HBO will have like their group. It's like, hey, we got to have this person over here. Bring in Carrie Coon again. Yeah, like they'll do things like that, but why can't they like play the same character once? Oh, the characters from this show go to the White Lotus Resort, something like that, right? That would have been a trip. At this point, maybe that's the best route you can go to try to get people to check out some things. HBO probably figures they don't need to do that. They have the successful rebrand of being called HBO again. Max was terrible. HBO Max, we changed the name, which means we can increase the price while sweeping that under the rug. Oh, those were terms for HBO. Those were terms for Max, guys. HBO Max, that's us. And the starting price is only higher than what, something like that, right? Yeah, I think I remember Hank saying something like that. Hank says, we drove 2,000 miles for this. They must have been playing Arling. Is it Arling or Arlington? I think Hank Hill has a fictional but very Texas sounding town. Is it Arlen? Arling? I can't. It starts with an A. I suppose I will have to catch up on some King of the Hill so that I can, fully grasp all the lore for the upcoming season. I have a feeling it's going to be set up in a way that you don't need to do that. So what should I do? Should I watch a bunch of King of the Hill? I've heard people say it's everyone's favorite anime. You just don't know it, right? It with some edits, it can seem like an anime in a way. It doesn't seem like the typical American primetime cartoon, especially of the comedy ilk. It doesn't feel like The Simpsons. It doesn't feel like Family Guy. It has a slower pace, more down to earth stories about a guy who is passionate about propane and avoiding human affection. Very anime right there, right? I mean, goodness, on the anime front, there's stuff I'm kind of just forgetting to watch. The third season of Beastars finally came out, and I watched an episode, and it was just kind of like, the show is limping along. In season 2, the deer guy, there's a deer that's a good actor singer, and he gets a leg bit off and eaten by a wolf so that he can fight a bear, because now he has the power of having eaten meat. And this anthropomorphic carnivores shouldn't hang out with the vegetarian rabbit. You're going to eat them. And it's like, okay, I get it. He wants to eat the rabbit, but I don't think anyone really cares about that show. So I haven't really said a whole lot about it. The Simpsons movie should have come out in 2001. Yeah, probably at the latest, and it should have been the end of the show. But as Bart pointed out, pretty early, you got to hit show, you got to ride this horse to the ground. He says something like that, right? Him and Homer watching TV. If you feel like I do regarding The Simpsons, did Bart seem like the breakout character early? And then as you've matured, you find that the better humor efforts seem to revolve around Homer, and that he has taken prominence, and not even recently. Bart would be, I had pennants that had Bart on them hanging in my room. He would say things like cowabunga, and I have to question, who owns cowabunga? Does it belong to Michelangelo? Is Michelangelo cowabunga? Was he saying that? And surely he was saying that in the 87 cartoon series, right? But was he saying it early? I think he probably said that in the season 1. Possibly beating Bart to the punch, but The Simpsons premiered, they're on the Tracy Ullman show in the 80s, and in those shorts, did Bart have that attitude to say cowabunga? because it's weird that we can have that catchphrase with two characters. It's almost as weird as if we said, the Fresh Prince is going to go, yo, Uncle Phil, got any cheese? Like stealing that from Urkel. Did I do that, Uncle Phil? Right? Like, so there were catchphrases back then. Catchphrases made TV fun. You could watch a show waiting for the catchphrase. They shot, the myth of the canned laughter. Okay, so there's a sign that says applaud. But people are there in the seats in the bleachers. They're doing a show live in front of a studio audience. Is Miller Boyette Productions, all this, right? And you get the laughs from the people. You don't have that in a cartoon, except when it's kind of faked, done ad hoc with the Flintstones. Nobody else really wants to do that. I think, did the Jetsons do that? Because it's kind of a offshoot, similar type of concept. But aside from those two, I don't think the animated space had the... Now that's a right laugh track right there. But it's not a laugh track faked. It's a live studio audience. Now, if you don't mic the audience, you don't have that track to drop in and, line up with your show. So in a sense, it could be a laugh track, but the conception is that people are laughing, but not at the thing at which you're being cued as funny. And that stuff has really fallen by the wayside, in large part because of The Office, a show that it wasn't that good. Parks and Rec spits all over The Office, frankly. Far funnier. The Office probably has a more believable faux documentary setup to it than Parks and Rec did. But there were still times there was like, well, why would the cameraman know to be there to get this shot or multiple angles of this action happening? Sometimes things would go that way. It's gotten worse. Now I say now, but Modern Family, who are they talking to when they're sitting on the couch orating? Is there a documentary supposed to be going on? You were under the impression there was a documentary in The Office. Maybe in Parks and Rec, because somebody becomes president by the end. But man, the dead air, awkward stare bullshit of the character Jim in The Office just destroys all this shit. It's like, oh, we'll have a guy and somebody will say something kind of racist and he'll go, look at the camera crew like, did you hear that? And everybody at home's going to laugh. And like, are you sure they're going to laugh? Because there's not a laugh track. What are we going to do? And the last show to get good ratings with the live studio audience, multicam sitcom, The Big Bang Theory. Now I can't even tell you what would be considered the highest rated show on TV. For several years now, it is the pregame show for Sunday Night Football. Carrie Underwood singing the damn song, and then somebody plays football. That is the number one show. The pregame show, in a sense, is number two or number one if you want to look at that more as a production. And then the evening news. Because people don't want to make the appointment to see the TV anymore. There's not a lot of shows that were pulling that. The Walking Dead and Game of Thrones for a time could be appointment TV with Twitter kind of working as a second screen. In Game of Thrones, you don't get the ad break, but hey, go to ad break, everybody type. What do you think's going to happen? Who are they going to kill next? What's going to happen to Dale? Things like that, right? Atticus says, in the 2000s, a lot of great ideas for the Simpsons episodes were diverted into Simpsons comics. I'm not even that familiar with The Simpsons having comics. I know Sonic the Hedgehog actually was able to keep alive in comic form. And it was, I'd say recent, but now it's probably been 10 years. There was a Sonic the Hedgehog comic that ran for some time. Now, Sonic the Hedgehog is really damn popular with kids. Like, little boys are into Sonic the Hedgehog. Oh, with a religious fervor that you or I could have been into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I'm not really sure how that could be, because classic Sonic games are hard as balls, and these kids damn sure couldn't beat them, because me, gaming whiz, would get my ass kicked. Granted, didn't own the Genesis, so couldn't get that much practice in, but Jesus, really unforgiving bullshit would happen to you. You're expected to run fast, but Sonic is centered in the middle of the screen. Mario is at the end of the screen. Let's see. This is flipped. Maybe I should put my hand over here so you can see what's coming ahead of you. All right. Sonic dead center, but you're supposed to be fast. Blast processing. The games are going to run quicker. Less room to react. And they thought this was good. And then some people say Mario actually ran faster. No, he didn't, but he covered a shitload of ground and had a fairness built into the game design, whereas Sonic is purely trial and error. Good Shigeru Miyamoto designed levels in Mario could offer a challenge that you could react to in real time. Sonic the Hedgehog, you better damn well know Green Hill Zone, or you're screwed. But little kids go after that because he's got an attitude. He's the fastest thing alive. And he's voiced by Steve Urkel. Except now, I bring up damn Parks and Rec. The whole reason that, what's his name, Schwartz, the guy who voices Sonic in the movies. The whole damn reason he's the voice of Sonic is because he has Sonic's haircut. If it wasn't for having Sonic's haircut, that's his way of saying, hey, subconsciously, producers, look at my hair. What does that make you think of? Could we maybe get a Sonic the Hedgehog movie? And who's going to voice Sonic? But there's that guy. Well, yeah, he kind of sounds like he could. That's what it is. He wears the Sonic the Hedgehog haircut to get himself Sonic the Hedgehog. Now, the other people are trying similar shit. You got this gal, Jade Cargill, in the WWE right now. Used to be AEW. She has white hair. She wants to be Storm in an X-Men movie. Can she act? Strangely, for most wrestlers, acting is not a natural thing. It's really quite weird when you think about it. They do a lot of talking on microphones to each other in front of a big auditorium, but can they remember to do some fight choreography stuff? Surely they should. But when it comes to acting natural, they can't quite do it. You get that sort of same thing with the stage actors. When you see people playing up facial expressions, they're probably going big with the facial expressions because they were trained on stage. And then they're going to be unnatural in a movie. I believe I pointed it out in my original review of our favorite, The Force Awakens. How Rey Palpatine over there, how she was like overreacting with the face. Because it's like she's a stage actress, so we're getting this nonsense. Atticus, I watched a video of Mark Fisher giving a lecture about his essay, The Slow Cancellation of the Future, and found it quite interesting. Do you know of it? Fisher sadly self-deleted a few years ago. Not familiar with him. I'm going to screen grab that, and maybe I'll take a look at that. But, oh wait, you're not a channel member, so I don't have to do what you say. That's weird. Kind of weird how that works. So maybe I'll look at that, maybe I won't. That's kind of strange. Mark Fisher. Now, I've heard of Mark Hamill, and I've heard of Carrie Fisher, which makes me think this Mark Fisher guy must have been like the ultimate Jedi, right? Like his midichlorian count was way higher than Vader's. Am I wrong? His midichlorians were so high, he could see the future getting canceled before our eyes. I was thinking, as things are going now, and we have these stupid people willing to tell you they're smart, and they get to educate society, and they get to you pay them the money to hear their lecture about the future. Oh, someday we're going to be able to control the weather and all this stuff, right? And all of this someday bullshit is going to get completely thrown out the door by AI, taking all of the good jobs away from people that could get them, right? The people at the top are safe because they're doing the employing. The employees are the ones who get sacrificed by AI. So going forward, we all kind of need to be farmers or make burritos at Chipotle, something AI doesn't want to do, because the people who really have the money coming in for doing no work, because that's the way society's structured. Oh, it was anti-capitalist. The problem at this stage in capitalism, the people making the most money are the ones doing the least. There seems to be a point here where, are you doing no work? Do you make Elon Musk money for doing no work? Or are you a homeless bum injecting fentanyl? It's kind of an either or thing. Schrodinger's do you not work? All right. Atticus says he theorizes in great detail about why we are stuck in the technoculture purgatory. I think it's because of smartphones. Apple is over here. If you, President Trump, if you impose a 25% tariff on the iPhones and we have to make them in the US, they're going to cost like $3,000, $5,000 doing bit. No, they're not. The American people have to work. Trump is finding a way to ensure that there's jobs for them. That for a product that sells itself, that pretty much everyone damn needs, you're going to sell it for what people can afford to buy it for. You can't just simply hike the price up and expect to move stuff. Now, perishable goods, I mentioned before, Colombia, oh, we're selling roses to the US, but the tariffs, oh no, the roses are going to get expensive. So the roses land in America and people can't afford them. So before they wither, you have to move them. Okay, half price, just get them out of here. The demand will dictate what the price is, and people are going to have to eat some of these tariffs. It's not always going to be imposed on the consumer. That's a bunch of nonsense. But guys like Ben Shapiro will have you believe otherwise so that he can protect his bros in the stock market. Okay, so back to the iPhone thing. We could be out, exploring the galaxy. We look at the future promised by Star Trek: The Next Generation. They are out exploring. They don't get paid. You have your own personal honor, your own personal achievement. You rise through the ranks of Starfleet. If you really want to be a captain of, a Starfleet vessel, then you have to go through this. You don't get cronyismed up there. Your dad wasn't a captain, so you're a captain unless you're Kirk, I guess. Now, J.J. Abrams, gosh, asshole. Maybe I should change this to what hasn't J.J. Abrams ruined? Right? Like, is that a name of a stream? Jesus. Hold on a sec. Let me get back on the thought here, Atticus. So, instead of out doing all this big stuff for mankind, all of our technology goes into how do we improve the iPhone or the Android, right? Because that's where the money is. Capitalism is keeping us here, looking at our phones, watching this garbage, instead of doing big things. Because the motive for profit says, well, how much money can you get going out into space? You spend a lot of money out there and then you lose it all. So without the profit motive, we don't have a reason to go to Mars, right? And instead, here we are, consumed with entertainment and other distractions. So does it seem like the usefulness of capitalism is, finding its zenith, and have we reached that point? Yeah, I mean, it feels like we need to work on some other kind of solutions here. The true meritocracy is available in sports, unless you're Bronny James. But everything else, it looks like some opportunities given to you or you are held back. So if you don't know someone to give you the opportunity, you don't get to have a big podcast because you didn't get to go on Joe Rogan and present yourself and, avail yourself to his audience to capture, new listeners. You're just screwed. Oh, you're not a hot chick? Well, screw you. You don't know a hot chick, so you can be on her podcast? Screw you. Like the system in place doesn't really work out. All right, let me get to your thing here. Without the profit motive, you have to force workers to subsidize your space exploratory pursuits. The lecture is from 2014, but it really feels like nothing much has changed. I used to tell people, and this has kind of changed some sense, but for close to 10 years, it seemed like everything stopped in 2007. We had high definition, we had flat screens, we had smartphones. A lot of people couldn't afford the iPhone, but it was there. It was made available. And then all we did was we had broadband internet. What did we not have? Oh, okay, fine. We get the 3D TVs and then we say no. So now we're back to 2007. Okay, we get 4K. We talk about 8K, but we don't get 8K. We had streaming come in, going live on stuff, right? The social network stuff really catches fire more so after 2007. And then in the present day, we have AI fiddling with shit too. So now we've really reached a point where you can't say, oh, it's like 2007 still. We had rock bands. We had music acts that weren't just self-hyping hip-hop crap and telling you how bad white people were. So the entertainment scene's quite a bit different. Have you thought about what anything you'd like would have been like if it had been made today? Like, it's the same thing. And instead of, oh, well, you got a cool song from Berlin in Vision Quest, what would you have today? Like, okay, so this is a new song we're going to play, and it's Ye's Heil Hitler. And it's like, okay, well, do we have to? It's either that or Kanye's Carnival. We have to have a hit song in the movie, but our movie was made in 2025, so shit. And all the stories that we used to have, they could have been predictable, but yet they feel more unique than what we have now, where, I was watching Den of Thieves, and it's from 2018, okay? But I was watching Den of Thieves on Netflix. It's leaving really soon. And the whole damn movie, I'm like, is this Heat? Is this Michael Mann's Heat with Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, Val Kilmer, other people, Ashley Judd, Wes Studi, is Sizemore in that? I think so, but yeah, I mean, 90% of the movie is Heat until they say, oh, well, one of the underlings was actually the mastermind. And then it's kind of like, oh, that's the only thing that really separates this from being a remake of Heat. It even has these kind of like stoic shots of the landscape in Los Angeles with Moby-esque music playing. And that's as good as we can do now, is to remind you of something else you like, right? Yes, 2008 financial crisis does seem to be the demarcation point. The housing bubble, the rather engineered housing bubble. Hey, people who can't afford houses, you get a house. Well, that's one way to helm people, isn't it? Shit. That could have something to do with reducing us back to the lowest common denominator and as limiting pursuits forward, right? So are you on team smartphones are good? Uh, I am on team social networks are a net negative, and ultimately smartphones are a net negative. Now, there are ways in which having all the world's information in your pocket seem like a good idea. And here's a great idea. Make knowledge free. Everybody in the world can afford to have all the knowledge in the world. Whoa. Or everybody in the developed countries, okay? What do we do with that information? We all have so much more information than Malcolm from not the middle, but Jurassic Park. We didn't become, chaos theologians or whatever he is, right? Like we squandered the shit out of having knowledge, and we used to pay for knowledge. Yeah, you want to be smart, you got to go to college. Now everybody has all the answers. So you don't pay to know the answers. No, instead you pay for opinions and hot takes. Here's something to rage click over. Make sure that you smash the like button and hit all the shit and all this stuff, and we get nowhere. We have people circle talking themselves to rally some kind of base that can be exploited, but we don't actually get things done. And then when we do have somebody come by who is more so on the actually get things done type of leadership of like Donald Trump 2.0, oh, 3 judges you never heard of get to stand in the way and say, nope, the tariffs thing, we decided that maybe you can't do that because it's not an emergency. So we said, what we need, look, I'm not interested in being president because I'd rather be emperor. We need like a limited liability emperor rather than president. Like somebody who, okay, for 4 years, you do whatever you want and all the shit gets done and you have full support of the rest of the government and people not standing in your way. But they can run against you and be like, I don't really like what he's doing over here, but we do enforce the law, things like this, right? Instead, it's like, well, because my team said this guy's bad and he's so bad, we get to cheat and lie because we have to ensure that he can't win an election that would have otherwise been fair, right? So none of that shit's worth getting into. There's always somebody around with the power to screw shit up, bringing us to getting nowhere. If we had emperors, short-term limited liability, philosopher king says Plato emperor type shit, we could probably actually be out exploring stuff in the Enterprise or at least the Millennium Falcon, smuggling for Jabba. But instead, here we are, worried about the next iPhone. What features does it have? Well, it has a better camera now. It'll track you around corners or see through the dark, right? Got to listen to what Joe Rogan says. He accomplishes jack all. But if you don't, then you don't know how you're supposed to think about shit, right? Jesus. The new generations haven't seen the originals. Get ready for war. Who are we talking? The new generations haven't seen the originals. Are you talking about like, oh, hey, Den of Thieves. Wow, this is cool. I had no idea it was like a movie from 1995. Like, yeah, that. Quite a lot of videos have been uploaded recently about slopification of consumer tech, architecture, pop culture, interior design, the plague. I almost said plaque. I have to look that up. Did you write plaque or plague? Of minimalism, neutral colors. Zoomer. No. I will give you Zoomers. The following is a-holes. Okay? If people around my time have to be saddled with this stupid millennial, then these assholes, we can at the least afford them a-hole. This alpha shit goes, no. In fact, do I need to get this on a damn shirt explaining this to people? Greatest generation, baby boomers, Gen X, millennials, Zoomers, a-holes. Okay? Do I have to get that done? Shit. Yeah, I think Teespring's probably not going to approve, but we could test it, right? They had problems with my Mickey Mouse one that I thought was rather clever with the Steamboat Willie Mickey, and then going and writing in old timey Steamboat Willie Walt Disney type font, like fair use or something. Like, yeah, I thought that was actually or no, public domain. That was the shirt, right? Public domain. Yeah, they had problems with that because I put public domain Mickey. And they're like, no, you can't say that. You have to just label the title of the shirt public domain. And that should be a popular shirt. Maybe I need to offer that more colors or something. But yeah, I thought that was kind of beast. In my immediate future, I'm aiding and abetting in this do nothingism because I don't look, if it was all strictly based on merit, I would have the stack of Oscars and be leading the charge into space and all this other shit, right? But instead, it's entirely about who you know so that they can control who's going to make the money and who has the say, who can rally the troops, all this stuff, right? Don't know anybody, so I'm looking forward to the Nintendo Switch 2, maybe even picking up that Donkey Kong Bonanza. Sold some sneakers, did some research opportunity stuff with YouTube that gifted me a bunch of gift cards. So I kind of just, look, I'm not supposed to say a lot about this, but I can probably say this much. Yesterday, I had a video interview with YouTube, and I used it as setup, okay? Super expensive mic, $1,000 Sony camera with $400 lens, the backdrop, the lights, all the shit, right? And I'm doing the Google Meet thing. We're going to do like a web conference type thing, all right? And don't you go telling people this shit, okay? The guy gets on, seemed like a chill dude, but leave it to YouTube to use like a Chromebook to conduct the interview, the video interview. And I'm like, hey, can you hear me? Because I hadn't used Google Meet before. He's like, yeah, you sound crystal clear. Pictures all good and all this stuff. It's like, yeah, I wanted to make a good impression, show you guys I know what I'm doing here and got like my live stream set up and all this stuff. So, and then he's like, okay, well, I like to tell people before I, hit record. So, and here we go. What's up? It's your boy. And I'm like, I'm kidding. He's like, and he knew what I was doing. He's like, oh yeah, smash the like button. I'm like, yeah, the cheesy YouTube intro thing. So I just looked at a few upcoming changes to just a few little design tweaks, gave my my long perspective as an old head OG YouTuber, as some would say, kind of just chime in and kind of look at things from like the perspective of if somebody was new, would they understand how things would work? Or yeah, got to kind of keep it kind of vague, sign some non-disclosure agreements, but yeah, that's what happened. What else do we have here? Right, boomers didn't get named when they were kids either. Yeah, you're kind of right. Well, were they called boomers when they were kids? Because we have a name for these a-holes while they're still being punched out, right? Having the money to buy the knowledge is kind of the requirement for handling the knowledge, because you don't want to understand how the world works without being able to be part of the system. We have diluted knowledge to the point that it's actually worthless. Once everybody has the knowledge, there is no value to it. When no one had knowledge, but there was a wise man, then we have to protect the damn wise man. He's the only one who can read. Like, when everybody has the proliferation, widespread expansion of knowledge it leads to our destruction. It leads to laziness and letting the AI take over. And then before you know it, Sarah Connor's over there smoking the cigarette in disgust, right? That meme. What else do we got here? I'm glad you guys are actually using the damn chat. Jesus. Didn't get anybody chatting last week. Why aren't you guys signing up for memberships? Come on. I think people getting educated on everything is a recipe for depression epidemic. Look, if everybody's qualified to do all the shit, everybody went to college, everybody graduated, who's going to work at McDonald's, right? Have a real good burger place in my town called Freddy's. Okay. Super good fries. You could say McDonald's are better. The burger, it goes toe to toe with everybody. Freddy's started here. When I was fresh out of college, in the first year or two or something, there was a guy, working the drive-thru at Freddy's, and he had a Harvard degree in like Russian literature. What are you going to do with that if you don't know the Russians and shit, right? So, you don't have a line of credit to get you in at the museum. You don't know these people. Like, okay, so what path gets you to some of these highfalutin to not actually have to do blue collar jobs? It's almost entirely knowing people, because even the stuff that really works out as true meritocracy is still you get hit by people while you throw the football. Who do you know to get there? Doesn't matter. Now, the draft selection bullshit might put somebody who had a famous baseball player as a dad or some, might get a bit of a head start from you, but you still get your chance at the training camp, at the combine, and the like. Now, we've said, you know what, we need women everywhere. And then they get hired. You get the DEI hires in, and they go, if it wasn't for this DEI thing, I would be flipping burgers. So I owe it to the DEI to bring on more DEI. And why should a white man even be in this office? We're making history. No white guys in the office. Shit like that. Whereas the white guys were really just about, how hot is the chick that I can make secretary? And when girls had to be hot to get the secretary jobs, they were fine. And now they don't. And we have trolls everywhere. The girls we're being told are hot are like 90s ugly best friend. Like, okay, Sydney Sweeney, all right? She's selling her bath water with Dr. Squatch. I think it's kind of a brilliant idea. I told Dr. Squatch you're going to want to dip her in a lake in order to have enough material on hand to make these soap bars, right? Is she hot enough to be the hot chick in a 90s movie? Because I don't see it. Okay. Remember She's All That? Lainey? Oh, she's got glasses, guys. Paul Walker. Dulé Hill. Make fun of her. Hey, Freddie Prinze Jr., you can't make her attractive. That's impossible. And then it's like, kiss me underneath the moonlight. And she walks down the stairs and it's like, oh, wow, you're beautiful. You don't have glasses anymore. It was that simple. Guys, I watched that Fear Street Prom Queen the other day. And I know you guys didn't watch the review, but because there's hardly any views on it. But the girls being elevated up to, this is the hot girl in high school. And it's like, no, guys, rewind a bit to where before everybody got soft looking and when athletes looked chiseled as hell and when all the girls were hot in damn movies and shit, and rewind a bit because what's the motive here? What gets guys in gear? Oh, well, we've got a lot of like plus size models. We're going to make the next best thing or something like that. Let's add some plus size girls into Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue. Guys with any common sense who are not taking the bait of, oh, well, this is attractive now. Where's the incentive to get in shape for yourself? Oh, well, I need to get in shape so I can impress this girl that's heavy, right? Like, that's not the logic, right? So we let the women go because they didn't have to be hot to get jobs as secretaries. And now we're reaping what we sowed here, right? The equality shit. Oh, Vaughn's getting himself canceled tonight. Yep. Who is willing to say this? Where's the Crowder assholes? Oh, where's all the guys that have to go to Rumble and hype up Rumble, right? I'm never getting involved in damn Rumble because it is a favoritism model. Like YouTube Red, YouTube Originals. Oh, Cobra Kai. Well, they wouldn't have been able to have this show if YouTube wasn't paying them up front to do it. Well, someone else would have had it. Shit, Netflix ended up with it, and it's a big hit on Netflix. People didn't want to have to pay for YouTube, and they didn't, largely, you know? YouTube then realized, well, we have people making stuff for free. Why turn the knife and stab them in the back? Just go back to that model. You guys go to work and you do stuff endless hours, and maybe you get a few cents. New to here, yo. So I rambled long enough for you to show up. That's cool. Back to the YouTube thing. YouTube figured it out, and under the new management, and I don't remember the guy's name. I don't remember. I know I made a video when it was announced. At least he's not as censorship happy as Susan. The opportunities are coming in for me to help steer features and things and give feedback. Susan didn't give a shit about none of that. So under Susan, it was kind of like, how can we make people say the things we want said and amplify that voice, right? I feel a lot more freedom in current YouTube than the rapid censorship, walking on glass YouTube of old. Why would I give Rumble free content when they're just going to promote Nerderotica, Crowder, whoever the hell else decided to cross some line on YouTube to end up sequestered over there? So you're expected to make content on a place like X or Rumble just to feed Tucker Carlson and Nerderotica. So, you know, they're the ones who benefit. They're the ones getting paid to be exclusive over there or have some benefit content, right? You're just over there for the privilege. You know, shit. Yeah, everything's garbage. I think getting educated on everything is a recipe for depression. It said that. I'm glad to see that people are starting to notice how aesthetically depressing everything has become over the last 10 years or so. Just look at McDonald's, no longer colorful. My brother has a theory about this. So I describe it as looking like RoboCop's gun, or as more people would probably say, a PlayStation 2. Kind of looks like a grill. Is that supposed to evoke grilling our burgers, like the foods on the grill? My brother has this theory that the stores have this pleasingly ambiguous, similar design under the idea that the money is in going out of business at this location and selling the location to somebody else when it costs more. So it's really more of a real estate play. Oh, well, now it says Hardee's on it, but it used to say Burger King. Still looks like a whatever to me, right? It's not the iconic red roof of a Pizza Hut anymore. When we build a new one, it could transform into a Taco Bell at any moment. Get ready for war, says the problem is wise man used to be dependent on the survival of his tribe, so they were in cahoots. Nowadays, they form their own societies and are working for their personal interests. New to here, you're missing, so much waxing of philosophy. I solved the housing crisis, King of the Hill, The Simpsons. The Critic does not need a comeback, but if it did, it would be more preferred as a streaming movie. And what else did we say? Oh, Jill Biden was probably in on the cover-up with Joe, and the Democrats probably ran Joe hoping he would die in office, which is not the take I've really been hearing from people. And when he stubbornly didn't die, they're like, you need to make a decision to not run. Just give it to the black girl, the black Indian girl from Canada, The reason for the lack of architectural motifs is called modernism, and postmodernism is a type of Soviet architecture. So my university had one of the ugliest buildings in the world. It was a parking lot turned into a building called Wesco, and they would have been better off just leaving it as a parking garage. But why? What kind of message does it say to be like, hey, come look at our beautiful campus, but don't look over there? No, you're going to look at this direction, walk facing over here, Just don't look that way. Like, what kind of message does that send? I watched the first hour after the stream. Unfortunately, it takes a while for this to kind of like get post processed. We also had a thing go down. I'll show you that real quick. Oh, look, I can't move that. And this is grayed out, and I can't actually reset it to play the trailer for the new King of the Hill, which I'm kind of looking forward to. So, yeah, we have things going on. New to here also mentioned that I did a little bit of a research study thing, had a little interview with YouTube, and it looks like they want to talk to me again, actually, in early June. So we're going to have, I don't have that scheduled just yet, but I'm not really sure what kind of features they want my opinion on. So I got to see a bit of a preview of just like a few changes of things, but you know, it's good that I feel like I have some input over here, despite, oh, this is what a dead channel looks like, right? Would you get that kind of treatment at Rumble? Oh, well, if you're Nerd Erotica or Louder with Crowder, sure. Or Guns and Gear and the asshole who shouldn't have been on Twitch in the first place, Dr. Disrespect, you should be over here. Stream exclusively to Rumble. YouTube's dead. Rumble killed it. Yeah, let's make that your catchphrase and see if that works. Yeah, that'll totally turn true. Sure. I own a book on architecture. Modernism is what's after Art Deco. I'm not really sure to what stage we're at now. I was thinking of a joke. You know, are we still doing neo-Nazis? Because I think they had neo-Nazis before my time. Like, wasn't there neo-Nazis in the Blues Brothers movie in like 1980? So are we on postmodern Nazis, or are they ready for like a Nazi reboot or like a straight rebrand? Just Nazis, huh? Maybe it's time they just rebrand, right? And just add to that layer of confusion. Not necessarily funny, but yeah. That kills, by the way. Kind of lifted that from Jay Leno. Joke doesn't work. Just say not necessarily funny. And then people laugh at that. It's a good way to recover and get back on track. Yes, real estate is very modular now. It's the blank canvas principle, appealing to the lowest common denominator. Well, that would be for the commercial real estate. The homes, I think a lot of people want to make it theirs, but then you have that apartment mindset where the exterior almost doesn't matter. The people willing to fall for the apartment are the ones who are location, location, location. Look, if you didn't hear some asshat in a movie say, what's the most important thing about real estate? Location, location, location. I don't know where that started, where that trope ended, who coined that. From a marketing perspective, that repetition is annoying but brilliant because you have tricked everybody into thinking location is the most important thing. It's a hellhole, but it's at Times Square. $8 million, you know. So the people who come up with that are the kinds of people who can gain from duping people into buying a bunch of garbage. And like a terrible designer with the Emperor's New Clothes type philosophy. If we say it's good, it is, right? Man, houses. I don't feel like we're building the houses we used to. I'm not at a point in my town where they're destroying neighborhoods to rebuild, or we haven't yet really like cleared a neighborhood to make an apartment complex. Nothing like that's happened. Still a lot of land in Kansas. Why people would want to live in San Francisco, New York City, I can't wrap my head around it. Oh, let's go where the crime is. Like, I could see the flow being you raised in a small town, you go to the big city to make some money. Time to start a family, head back to the small town. Like salmon, you know, have that cycle. that would be a better way to try to promote things in this world. Like, and shit, did 80s movies do that? The kid's in the small town and he goes to the city. That sort of thing doesn't happen in modern storytelling. They're kind of just there. And the kids who are born and raised in the city are delinquents, right? You got to bring them to the suburbs so that you can have a little more control over them. You have a kid in New York City, they get raised by the streets, and they're out turning tricks and stealing cars, whatever. So you go to the city and make the money. Oh, time to settle down. Now you can afford the house in Kansas. That is the cycle we should have really been enforcing. Those shoebox apartments in China are the stuff of nightmares, I imagine. Yep. Well, have you guys gotten your fill of my shenanigans? It's been 1 week since you looked at me. Do not tell me. Will you watch Final Destination Bloodlines? What studio is that? I know this thing's kind of stuck, so I can't look, but I mean, I can type things in. What else had the name Bloodlines? Was Hellraiser 4 Bloodlines, I think? I'm going to type that in. Hellraiser 4, fulfilling that Parks and Rec motif, the first movie with Adam Scott. Yeah, Hellraiser Bloodline, 1996, the last Hellraiser that made it to theaters. Final Destination. I don't think you need to be up on the lore with that franchise. I've only seen a few of them. I saw one in a theater, and I don't remember if it was 5 or The Final Destination or just Final. I think it was The. And now they've changed the name of it to maybe Final Destination 5. I don't know. Did they? Yes. So I saw Final Destination 5, but I'm pretty sure it was called The Final Destination. A prequel. Yeah. Then I don't. Despite The Final being announced as the final film in the franchise. Yeah. And then they changed it. And now they call it 5, I think. Something's confusing about that. I'm pretty sure they added a "the" in there. Like they wanted to be Fast and Furious chic. But yeah, it didn't really quite pan out, I suppose. Final Destination Bloodlines. Is this going to... does this offshoot so that they can keep this thing rolling? Final Destination Bloodlines is the first in the franchise to not open in a year in which there is also an X-Men movie. I just wanted to see what studio it is so that I'll have an understanding of where... New Line Cinema, distributed by Warner Brothers, which means HBO Max, which I'm not willing to pay for. So probably a negative on that. Oh, but they'll put the 1080p super compressed version on Netflix, even though you're paying for 4K. Is it time for me to pass the bar exam and just start suing the people that need to be sued, calling it class action? Hey, Netflix, where's the damn 4K? This new movie exists in 4K on another platform, but you don't have any and I'm paying for it. Suing you for $200 million, class action. Okay, you guys over there, you get a few months of Netflix. I'll take my 20 million. Yeah. There are lawyers who haven't figured this shit out, that Netflix would settle and you'd walk away with a ton of money. Is everybody stupid or allergic to making money? Shit. Vampire the Masquerade. I've heard of that game. I think it started out starts as like a tabletop thing. My brother's mentioned it. He's into that sort of stuff. I've heard of that. I heard Steven Crowder like Chowder. Sure. Is he funny? I've listened to a lot of his show and laughed at maybe one or two things. And I'm not entirely sure it was due to him so much. I have been listening to the Nerderotic Friday Night Tights, you guys should go over there if they're doing their show right now and say, hey, you should get Von Fry, Legendary Badass, on your show. You know, that way, if people saw me on that, then they would subscribe to my channel, because everything's by proxy now. You have to get on other people's stuff for them to care about you, right? So, but I actually have had some decent laughs with some of the vibe they had going on over there. I don't care for them saying terms like linear television, or, you know, the main guy owning every action figure as if that makes him an authority, because that really shouldn't be the deciding factor. Oh, you must not be very good at Overwatch because you don't have an Overwatch plush on your couch. Like, okay, we'll see about that. Still got viewers here, so if you guys have some questions, let me know. We'll get to wrapping this up shortly. I've got jury duty sort of stuff will probably start the week after the 6th, whichever day that is, because I have to call and then find out when I need a report, if I need a report for the following Monday type thing. And I got out of it last time because I was on a cruise, and now I'm not. So they're like, we got him. So they'll probably not want me on a jury pool for long, because I know because I wrote on their profession stand-up comedian. And then they're going to be like, well, we have a murder trial. Can you be serious for a moment? And I'm like, I guess, you know, or whatever. I kind of think that if I dress a certain way, I can probably get out. Like if I wore the Galaxy Foams and, you know, the Metroid shirt, like the things I'm wearing to the launch of the Switch 2 at GameStop, the midnight wait. If I wore that to the trial, like, oh man, I don't, you know, the jury selection stuff, they'd be like, does this guy look serious? No, because he doesn't look serious. That's why we want him. He's a fun-loving guy, right? His shoes look like space. You know, they might read that the wrong way. I'm hearing the name Hassan Piker a lot lately, but yeah, me too. I've been hearing that too. Is that somebody these conservative grifters like or don't like? American streamer something. I don't. He looks young. I don't really want to listen to somebody young. Well, 1991, I could give him some grace, but he is born just after Terminator 2 hit theaters, so, right? I mean, you gotta have that line in the sand, right, guys? Does this guy do something? Is there some reason people are talking about him? A Twitch streamer personality? Does he play games, or is he on Twitch saying stuff to appeal to a one of the political spectrum sides, whatever? That's where a lot of this shit goes. Nobody cares about reviewing entertainment stuff. It's more of a like, I align with you because I voted for the same guy you did. Here's what we got to do now, guys. Now you give me money, right? Like that's the play, right? He is Ethan Klein's cousin. Oh, I've heard of him too. Just a very combative gotcha interview type asshat. Okay. Not Chunk Uger's cousin? Oh, either way. Yeah. Jank. Isn't that how it's pronounced? I had to watch a documentary about Young Turk's rise to power, and I kind of really just assumed it was because they could afford a set with a desk at a time when most people were on a webcam. And look, seriously, the first time I came across Young Turks and Alex Jones, you know, it would be like pre-2010 YouTube, like thereabouts, where these were the only people with production quality and like maybe multiple cameras to switch. And it was kind of like, how did they do that? like, well, I've got a phone, but it doesn't look like this. That was the common mindset. So only because they had production value at a time when others didn't gave them authority. That's really what it came to. And now the production quality thing could be out the window soon with you get an AI to act out all of your voiceover podcasts or something, right? If you just say some words and then the AI will kind of illustrate the scene as you describe it, right? So, I mean, that sort of thing could be around the corner. So wait, agreed. Funko Pops are a setback. Yeah, we didn't have that in 2007. Hey, this plastic from China vaguely looks like Deadpool. Make sure you buy that and keep it in its freaking box. I say that as I have a Geico Gecko Halloween Funko Pop. It's in a box over there, but I got that free for because other people, I guess, didn't want it. There was some kind of like sweepstakes thing, something. I can't remember what it was exactly, but I was just kind of curious. So my mom said it was cute. Maybe I'll give it to her sometime. Oh, great. It's just hearsay. I hardly heard anything from or about him. And being a commie, of course. Okay, so we don't like Hassan Piker, is the vibe, huh? Do I need to look? All these people spout up, and then it's like, do I need to give them the time of day to listen to their pod? And frankly, I'm addicted to podcasts. Might as well face it, I'm addicted to pod. I cannot sleep without shit. Oh, without popping one of these bad boys in. I have to pop in an earbud. I really like these Sonys, by the way. Like this is my thing of choice right now. The Sonys works pretty well for me. But I have to pop that in and listen to something. And then by the time I wake up, Spotify will have chosen that now I'm in the middle of Tim Pool's thing, or I had some Daily Wire crap seeping into my ear in my sleep, or even worse, that female comedian that had to leave because of the fires. She has the implants and might have tried to have a kid. She had the Android thing of her built for her stand-up special. Whitney Cummings. Yeah, and then I'll look and it'll say, oh, you've been listening to 3 hours of Whitney Cummings stuff. And I'm like, oh, are bad ideas seeping into my mind or something? But now if I'm playing a video game, it's single player and I know it doesn't have voice acting or something. Oh, I can't just simply play this. I have to listen to a podcast while I do it. I might have a hard time sitting around all day for the jury selection shit without actually listening to a podcast. So I have a few days to try to work that out, right? I have a very spicy suggestion for a pod. Go for it. Games room with vinyl figures and LED strip lighting. I'll give the lighting to some extent if it's tastefully incorporated. If it looks like you're simply, look, I mean, I said I was doing stuff with the lights before a lot of other people. But when they're doing it, I think it's because they're trying to be like somebody else they saw. I saw this guy had the race car looking seat for his gaming chair, so I got one. Like, that's lame as shit. And I was thinking also, in the event, not that it'll ever happen because I don't know anybody, but say if I got to make a movie, it would have to be so unlike anything else simply because I wouldn't get another chance otherwise. So, everybody else has a title sequence that looks like this, not this. We're doing shit different. Like, I'm just like upend everything you possibly can. I was also thinking that there could be a new angle at the airplane Naked Gun spoof type movie. You play everything serious, okay? But it's an effects heavy movie. None of the effects are finished. You just have the raw people with the ping pong balls on them, talking to the head on the stick that is supposed to be the octopus god or whatever, green screen everywhere, the cars don't actually move, all that shit. Like a damn Marvel movie, but you leave that raw. And there'd be people, in the background moving things around. There'd be all kinds of stuff that was, as a finished effect, would look cool, but you upend it and it's funny simply because of all the unfinished shit in it, with everybody else playing it straight. At the very least, that is what I would do for a music video, because the music videos, they want to show off how good they are with the effects. No effects. You got a car sitting on blocks and there's a green screen going around it, but you're supposed to be a hip hop singer or something, and leave all the shit unfinished. That would get you more attention than finishing the effects. Am I wrong? Right? Oh, such a visionary. It's a good thing he doesn't know anybody or stuff might happen. Shit. I got Hassan Piker confused with Hassan Abi. No idea who either Hassan is. I know Hassan Minaj. Oh, did this freeze? Did my thing freeze over here? What happened? Oh, maybe I hit pause or something. I hope that you guys aren't saying anything froze. Anyways, oh, and don't forget the studio mic and the soundproof booth tiles makes me sick. Oh, yes. I've thought about getting something like that, but not necessarily having it visible, right? I do have the mic thing going. I think of the mic as a two-function thing here. One, it makes it look like I know what I'm doing, because it's like, oh wow, he's got the cool mic. This guy might have something important to say. In that way, it is used like a prop. This is like a prop, guys, because when you see this, it denotes authority. And oh wow, he's got the multi-$100 German mic arm. That's even better than Joe Rogan's. This guy must really know his shit. When you see this stuff, you go, wow, there's money being spent on this. I better listen to them. Like it sends a message. And that is why I would have that in frame. The foam tiles on the wall, a lot of times they're misaligned and it looks cheaper than if you went into an actual radio station where you would see things done professionally, right? So there is that to consider. You're saying Piker's rich, but he isn't. The could explain Turks something. I remember there was an expose about being rich. Huh? They are champagne socialists. Does that mean they're from France or something? I don't know. All right. Have I bored you guys enough tonight? Probably. Are you not suitably bored with me? I think we should probably wrap this up. I didn't see any new channel members. Did I get some subscribers? Let's, for the hell of it, pull up Studio and see. It's hard to tell. Make sure you check out that Fear Street review. I thought I did a pretty good job with a thumbnail. Studio Analytics is saying kind of otherwise, but yeah. Is there a subject I didn't get into? Jesus. So that will do it for tonight. I will peacefully play some more Doom. The Dark Ages. I ran into some trouble the other night where all of a sudden the game got cheap, because if you if you use the sigil so that you have an extra life instead of just continuing from the checkpoint, and then you die, now you start at the checkpoint, but you don't have the extra life. So you have to save your 3 sigils till you're at final boss or something, as you're expected. Kind of a bad move, but yeah, it's still super doable. A lot of accessibility sliders and stuff. No, Vaughn, don't do it. Don't become like the other influencers. No. Guys, I am going to corner the market on Switch peripheral stuff. I've got, hold on, I'll show you real quick. Oh, shit. You know, I just dropped my lens cap. And it actually came, I hope it didn't get busted, thank goodness, even though it landed on a mic stand base. But I've got a filter over this, and the lens cap actually came with some kind of, I don't see where I'd put it, but there was some kind of loop. Oh, right here, there's a loop spot. But I should probably actually have that dangling down. It'd be better. I do have Switch games, even though I don't have a Switch, I know, but I'm getting as many cases in as I can. And I'm going to corner the market on the affiliate sales for Switch cases. So I've seen finally what the $40 Nintendo official case looks like. And there are better alternatives for far less. I can be certain of that. There's one I'm going to get. I don't know if it's coming in the mail tomorrow. I'm getting this brand Coops is sending me a backpack that it's more of like a all-in-one case. They might be sending me their slim case too. It just came to Amazon, available to buy today. So if they didn't send me that, I'm also going to pick it up. But I like the idea of the slim cases. You can see that these slightly thicker ones, they want you to be able to stuff things in here. So if you're doing that, there isn't much to secure the Switch to in its container down here. Instead, it's going to be loose, moving around inside. So you want a very thin case, and Coops keeps it pressed down, so it's going to be in there well. And I'm also looking at grips. There's quite a few like EVA foam and silicone grips for if you want to just play it out like it's a Game Gear, I guess. And I'll be doing videos on that. And then, excellent. Exactly, right? Like everybody who buys a Switch, they're going to end up on Amazon looking at my videos of grips and cases, and I'll get a piece of the action. That is the plan. Spot on about the mic. It almost looks like a robot. You think the mic looks like a robot? Like, wow, this guy can afford a robot. Mr. Robot. Does anyone remember that shite Netflix t-shirt of the week? Never watched it, only because of the title. What an off-putting title. Reminds me of the worst Styx song, Mr. Roboto. Rami Malek, very overrated, should not have won an Oscar for lip syncing. If you are in a musical performance and you have your voice replaced by anybody else, then you should be disqualified from any kind of performance award. Because at least, what's his name, Taron Egerton, at least he sang the Elton John songs in the Elton John biopic. You know, as we tried to crank out biopics for musicians in the wake of Rami Malek's win and all this garbage, right? Okay, he didn't sound like Elton John as good, but at least it was him, right? But the guy we're going to award is the guy who doesn't sound like Freddie Mercury, and they knew it, so they just had Freddie Mercury sing instead, or Adam Lambert or somebody, you know, in Queen, like Rami Mystery Meat, Bug Eyes Malik, also in, can we say the worst James Bond movie? Is, what is it? It's not Die Another Day. It's You Can't Die Young. What is shit, The Last of Us James Bond. Like shit. What is that called? It's one of those things I'm blocking out because of such a traumatic bullshit experience. Like 9/11, right? When you say 9/11 now, you're talking about a Porsche, hopefully, because you don't want to talk about September 11 in the same way. Don't even remind me the title of that movie, guys. No one in the chat do it. But yes, that was horrific. He's got something where he's a CIA analyst, but he needs to kill people that killed the new Lois Lane. And he needs Lawrence Fishburne to help him with it, to learn how to kill people. That came out, probably didn't make much money. I'm going to look that up. What was it called? Like The Analyst or something? Rami Malek movies. What was it called? Had a name. Amateur. This probably didn't make 100 million. But you never know anymore. Nowadays, there are movies that disappeared and could have made $200 or $300 million. Whereas in the 80s, it would be the talk of the damn summer, right? The Amateur Movie Wiki. Hell, that's probably a title that's been used a few times, right? It's vague enough. Oh, what did I say? Didn't make 100 million. Box office, 95.5 million on a $60 million budget. 20th Century Studios, sounds to me like that's probably on Hulu already. Came out April 11th. What are we waiting for, guys? Get that on Hulu, right? Thanks, Vaughn. Now I have that awful... It's bad, isn't it? I had that on mind because like a week ago, somebody on Reddit was saying something like, what's the worst song? And that's kind of the go-to that comes to mind. And it hurts because Styx has some good songs, and then there's that, right? So, yeah, that's certainly up there. And to be a bad song, it needs to be one people have kind of heard or know. If it's too obscure, then yeah, of course, that's why it's bad, right? Because it didn't catch on. So to really be at the peak bad song, it's better to fall hard further, So yeah, that's what I know about that. All right, I got to edit. Did the podcast with my mom tonight. Got to get that up and, check that out. Even my mom has a podcast, Spotify and Apple Podcasts. 100th episode. So, yeah, really stuck with that. Lou Bega, Mamba number 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The guy is making bank from that to this day. That was listed as one of the songs from the 90s people still know or something. Like, it didn't hit like number 1 on the charts, but longevity-wise, it creeps up. I'm sure he's still making some money. You got to pay Lou Bega to come to your music festival, I'm going to type in Lou Bega net worth. 1, 2, 3, 4 million. What is his net worth? About 3 million. Could do a lot worse. Could do a lot worse. All right. That's it for me. If you made it this far, wait until marriage. Counseling.